Hello there. Welcome to the Void Podcast, the podcast where you can get all the latest news every week. I'm your host, Michael Valdez, and this is The Void. Hello, I'm the host of The Void, and let me tell you, we have quite the story in store for you today. Today, we are focusing on life lessons. Prior to tonight's show, we had interviewed someone who had been called up to active duty during Desert Storm in 1991. I will be analyzing each line of dialogue from this interview because he wishes his voice remain anonymous. I will be giving all of my thoughts on each question, how it contributes to a life lesson. I will be guessing what his life lesson was from this experience. The person we interviewed was named Sean Capes. He is 49 years old as of now and was born in 1968 in Atlanta, Georgia. The first question we asked him was, when did you serve in the military? To which he replied was 1985 to 1993. I think that's some commitment, and I think that could show a life lesson of learning to appreciate everything, because being gone that long really makes you think of what you're missing. The next question we asked him was, what was your most vivid memory of the military? To that he said that one of his most vivid memories of the military was learning teamwork, camaraderie, and friendship. This definitely could contribute to a life lesson such as learning new qualities, but I also think another thing that he could have taken away is learning to be more social. But I really kind of want to stick with that he learned to appreciate everything. It's not a bad point, but I don't know if that's what he really took away from it. The next question we asked him was if there was anything he would like to express about the military, his personal thoughts. He said, and quote unquote, well then again, I enlisted in the reserves and I never expected to be called up to active duty. But then, when the country went to war, they called me on the telephone and said, you had to go, and you had a couple of days to get ready. Of course, my daughter, who's now 29 years old, was just born. She had only been 1 year old. So the big thing I remember is having to leave my family with not being married for long and having to leave my daughter. It really does sound like he misses his family, so that leads me to believe that his life lesson is to appreciate everything. Yeah, because now I'm really starting to think that his life lesson was treasuring his family. I don't know. That's basically the same thing. But anyway, the next question that we asked in the interview was, how did it feel when you came back? To that, he said, oh, I was ecstatic. Happy because when we went, they told us, okay, you're going to be on active duty for 3 months. So we thought we would only be gone for 3 months. But then they did what they called extended us. So they extended us for another 3 months. And we thought, okay, at the end of that 3 months, they extended us for another 6 months, so I ended up being gone for a year, end quote. It doesn't sound like a very good time. I bet from all of that, he learned to value his time more, maybe a part of the lesson, but maybe, and you're probably wondering, what role did Sean even serve in the military anyways? Which is convenient because that is the next question. We asked, what role did you serve in the military? He said, open quote, my job in the military was what they call personal management. We handle things like life insurance, wills, and dog tags, which are basically your IDs. We got people ready to be shipped across the seas, which I think sounds very stressful. That kind of sounds like he may have learned some more organization skills and multitasking. But then again, that can't be it. I think that's kind of convenient as well, because the next question we asked was the job stressful for you? And to which he replied, it was busy. There was a lot to do. Of course, you have everybody depending on you. Didn't want to mess somebody's will up or their life insurance or things like that. You wanted to make sure everything was correct for these people in case they had to use it. To me, that sounds like he had to learn to be perfect for this job. All the more reason that his life lesson could be appreciate everything, because he had to be perfect for such a long time just to go back to like a life. It's something that you need to appreciate while you can. The next question we asked was, would you recommend the military? He replies, I think the military was a very good learning experience, and I think for most people it would be a very good experience. It would teach a lot of people responsibility. It teaches you not to only learn a skill, but it teaches you not to depend on family or friends, only yourself to get the job done. And you also only have to depend on your team. So yeah, I think the military is great. it teaches you discipline as far as they teach you to get goals done so you can do things you never thought you could. So not only do you learn a skill, but you'll learn valuable life lessons. So, maybe I am right. And that leads to the last and ultimate question. What did you take away from your experiences, such as a life lesson? He said, I learned to appreciate everything we have here. Never take anything for granted. I learned how much I missed my family when I was so happy to be back with them. So I was right. Boom. And that's our show. But to do Sean justice, we are going to go through the rest of the interview because throughout the podcast, we only picked out the most important pieces of dialogue to find a life lesson. Anyways, we are going to go through the rest of the interview now. The next question we asked was, how do you think being in the Army/military changed you as a person? Sean said, well, it made me more responsible, and also, again, it made me understand about how important everything we have here is in America compared to a lot of places in the world. Freedoms and things like that. Which is very true, because a lot of places are less fortunate than we are. Anyways, the next question was, do you remember anybody from your service, such as friends? Sean said, I had friends. I don't think I'm in touch with them anymore after I left in 1993. I remember people, but I'm not really in touch with them. Which is understandable, because that was like, I can't do math, but it was a long time ago. Anyways, the next question we asked is, where did you enroll and how did you feel at first when you enrolled for the military? Sean said, when I enlisted, the first place I went was Fort Jackson in South Carolina. That is also where I went for basic training. I was very young at the time. I was 17 years old and I was very nervous because the people I was there with were like 20 and I was younger. And I understand what that's like because I was put on a high school wrestling team and I'm only in like middle school. So I understand what it's like. It's scary, but we get through life. Anyways, that's our show. Thank you all so much for listening. My name is Michael Valdez and you just listened to The Void.